Good evening. This is a bit of a request video really. Been asked to do a flat cap and a cold one. When am I going to do a flat cap and a cold one? So it's too warm for a flat cap, so I thought I'd do a baseball cap and a cold one. I got this stuff, Ashfield. It's nice, 3.8, nice and chilled. Wow. Yeah, Ashfield lager it is. But yeah, it's lovely stuff. Whoops. Ow, yeah, cheap too. £2. I can't remember now, just over £2 I think for 4 cans from Tesco. Ashfield. Just move that out the way. So yeah, this is it, Saturday night. Once the winter, I'll start getting my flat cap out and what have you, or flat caps. And I'll start doing a flat cap and a cold one. Usually when I put a flat cap on I start moaning. It's not like me to moan, is it? But yeah, this stuff, oh, it's absolutely lovely. Beautiful stuff. And the subject, or subjects, I'm going to talk about is the Titanic. That fateful maiden voyage. Disaster, wasn't it? Absolute disaster. But a complete cock up at the same time. The lifeboats, one lifeboat I think, they put about 8 in them, or 9 in them, and it was absolute, you know, it's just a complete cock up. But in them days, the lifeboats, it was by law they didn't have to have the capacity of the, you know, the passengers and the crew. You know, the could be under, you know, or more passengers and crew than the lifeboats could. The capacity of the lifeboats, I should say, and that was, you know, that was not against the law. Crazy, isn't it? But what I want to talk about is some consider to be the greatest movie mistake of all time, which is as they're approaching the iceberg and the crow's nest, they radio down, don't they? They go on the phone and what have you. Iceberg dead ahead. And Murdoch looks out and he shouts, "Hard a starboard, hard a starboard." And the wheelman, starboard and port, in case you don't know, if you're in on the bridge, you're looking towards the front of the ship, or what have you. Port side is on the left, and starboard is on the right. So they get the radio message down. Hard as get it right in a minute. Iceberg right ahead, or dead ahead, I think he said. Iceberg dead ahead. And Murdoch shouts to the wheelman, "Hard a starboard." And the wheelman turns the wheel to the left, and the Titanic steers to the left. And people think that's a mistake. He shouted, or he ordered the wheelman, "Hard a starboard." But why did he turn it to the left, to port? And why did the Titanic get steered to the port? A lot of people think that is the greatest moving mistake of all time, but it's not. In them days, boats or ships were steered, or ordered to be steered by tiller. Tiller orders, as if you were using a tiller on a boat. You can imagine a small boat, got your tiller connected to the rudder. If you turn the tiller to starboard, which is the right, turn the tiller that way, the rudder will turn to port. It'll turn to the left and it'll steer the boat to the left, and vice versa. If you've got the tiller and you move it to port side, it'll turn the tiller to starboard and it'll steer to the right. So it's not a mistake at all, and that's exactly what happened in them days. The Titanic was tiller ordered, or tiller steered. I'm not sure what the correct, tiller steered or something, or ordered, whatever you. But that's how, exactly how the Titanic was steered, by tiller orders. Murdoch shouted, "Hard a starboard." So the tillerman, as if he was operating a tiller, was turning the bottom of the wheel, was going to starboard, was turning the rudder to port, that way, and that's what steered the Titanic, to port side or to the left. And a lot of people think, well, why did he order harder starboard? Why did he turn the wheel to port? And that's why. That's the reason why, because it was tiller ordered or tiller steered. So I hope I've explained that. It's just like as if you're operating a tiller. You've got your tiller, you're sitting there, it's behind you really, isn't it, on a boat. You turn it to port, the rudder will turn that way. It's the opposite sort of way. And you turn to starboard, your tiller will turn that way and it'll steer to the left. And it's the same, well, not so much the same, but as if you're towing a trailer. I used to work for building firm. I used to deliver in a big 4x4 Range Rover, and towing a trailer, an Ivor Williams, big Ivor Williams trailer, big long one. I can't remember the length of it now, but it had in the centre of it had 4 wheels. It wasn't just 2, it was 4. And the bigger the trailer, the easier they are. A lot of people don't think that. And they are to reverse. Easy towing a trailer, it's no problem. You just hook it up and drive, and you just drag it behind your vehicle. But when it comes to reversing, a lot of people can't even reverse a car or whatever vehicle they're in, never mind towing a trailer. But the smaller the trailer, the more difficult they are to reverse. The larger the trailer, the easier they are to reverse. And the trick is, there's a lot of this stuff. The trick is to learn how to reverse using a trailer. Whichever way you want the trailer to turn, if you've got your steering wheel, don't think as the top of your steering wheel, but think as the bottom of your steering wheel. So you've got your steering wheel there, imagine it's round, obviously basically. So if you want your trailer to turn, say, right, you imagine the bottom of the steering wheel. Turn the bottom of your steering wheel right. So you turn it like that. So the bottom of your steering wheel is turning right. Your trailer will turn right. If you want it to turn left, and you're reversing now, you're not going forward, obviously, basically. If you're reversing and you want it to turn to the left, turn your steering wheel the other way. Imagine, just think about the bottom of your steering wheel. Don't think about the top, think about the bottom. Turn it that way, clockwise. So the bottom of the steering wheel is turning to the left. The trailer will turn to the left. And that's a quick tip, an easy way to sort of, because a lot of people find it very difficult to reverse with trailers. But like I say, the smaller the trailer, the harder they are to reverse with. But if you just think of that, your steering wheel, the round steering wheel, don't think of the top, think of the bottom. If you look behind you, whichever way you want your trailer to turn, if you want it to turn that way, turn your steering wheel so the bottom of your steering wheel turns to the right, the trailer will turn to the right, and vice versa. You turn it that way to the left, the bottom of the steering wheel is turning to the left, the trailer will turn to the left. So it's a quick tip for you. So yeah, anyway, obviously, basically, yeah, just thought I would have a quick chat about the Titanic. Terrible tragedy, but yeah, a lot of people think that is a mistake. He was ordered, the wheelman was ordered hard to starboard, and he turned the wheel to port, and the actual Titanic, you can see that the iceberg, and it turned to the left, it turned to port side, but he was ordered hard starboard. And they say, well, that's wrong, but it wasn't. It was actually, in them days, I think they've changed it now, but it was tiller, as if you were using a tiller. So hard to starboard, you would turn it to starboard, the rudder would turn that way, so the Titanic turned to the left. So it wasn't wrong. So yeah, I will finish this one off. Just thought I would have a baseball cap and a cold one. And I will see you in the next one.